The Islanders have just robbed the NHL with one of the best draft hauls in recent memory, with the Islanders acquiring three highly touted prospects to join their prospect pool. We're going to discuss the Islanders picks on this episode of Islanders Digest and why I believe this was such a steal for the team. Truly, I am so thrilled with these picks. I was really unsure, especially after the Islanders did not trade for James Higgins. I was feeling like that Noah Dobson trade felt like a loss, and then seeing who the Islanders got instead, I am beyond stoked. Before we get into that, we noticed that 65% of you who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. So if you're an Islander fan, you want more Islanders content just like this, what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe. It's free. This is the most exciting time of the season for hockey. You're not going to want to miss out on all this Islanders content. I think we posted, like 5 videos today? And there's going to be even more, as tomorrow is the next day of the NHL draft. There are going to be even more picks for the Islanders. And in addition, we have then free agency coming up where, especially considering how active Matthew Darch has already been as a general manager, having a major trade like this be his first move as the Islanders GM, you can expect there's going to be a lot more coming this offseason, and you're not going to want to miss it. But now let's talk about the Islanders draft. And honestly, they did such a good job with the 16th and 17th overall pick. I'm almost more excited about those picks than drafting Matthew Schaefer, which sounds insane to say. Yes, Matthew Schaefer is the best player in this draft. It is so thrilling that the Islanders acquired him, but you expected that coming in. What you didn't expect, first of all, you didn't expect the Islanders to have 2 more picks in this draft. And then, when it didn't become James Higgins, you definitely didn't expect it to be this. The Islanders had drafted 1st overall Matthew Schaefer, 16th overall Victor Eklund, and 17th overall Kashawn Aitcheson. And all 3 of these players are absolute steals. Schaefer is a steal simply because the Islanders never deserved the 1st overall pick. This was a team that should have had the 10th overall pick. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, when I was preparing to make my content for the Islanders having 10th overall pick, a player I desperately wanted the Islanders to draft and simply did not think would be available when the Islanders got to 10th overall was Victor Eklund. That is how high I was on Victor Eklund. Now, Aitcheson was another player that I was considering for that pick, but I was a little less high on him. But these picks, 16 and 17, I don't believe either of these players should be available. I truly believe before the pick was traded that the Rangers were going to pick Aitcheson at 12th overall. This is a guy who has so much grit in his game. Both these players are so physical. The Islanders have gotten such a steal in this draft, and I'm so happy with how this came out. It's really hard to look at the Noah Dobson trade as anything else than a win, seeing who the Islanders got in return, and we're going to break it down. First, I really want to talk about what people are saying about these picks. Chris Peters had Aitcheson as his 2nd best defenseman in this draft. Now, I did personally like Radim Murkta and Smith a bit more, Jackson Smith, but still, I think he was the 4th best defenseman in this draft. And what I love about the way the Islanders have been drafting in the past 2 years now, which is why I was glad that Darch did not get rid of the Islanders scouting system when he took over and is instead looking to make changes and add additions to what is already there. This is an Islanders team that has shown in recent years that they are going to draft the best player available. They've made that very clear with their picks, such as Cole Eiserman, who seem to not really fit who the Islanders would typically draft, and this is how you should draft the NHL. And I think so many teams in this league have a problem. You notice early in this draft, every single team was drafting just center after center after center. I don't mean to be disrespectful to the player. I think he is a very good player. A player like Brady Martin should not go 5th overall. It just does not make sense. I am so disappointed in that pick for Nashville. He simply, while he has the grit, he simply does not have that skill. And I think the Islanders have been so smart in recent years, just ignore positions and just focus on best player available. It's what they did with Schaefer, selecting him 1st overall. They did it again with Eklund and Aitcheson, and this is such a haul for the Islanders. Now, Matthew Darch has confirmed that the Islanders did try to trade up and select James Higgins. It seems like they just could not find a match. It's really hard to trade into the top 10, and I will say, I don't think it was worth it, considering who was available. And Darch said he did not expect Eklund and Aitcheson to be available at 16 and 17. Eklund, in particular, should not have made it past 10. I don't know what teams were thinking with Eklund, especially considering I think he has such a high floor, and he was playing in a men's league last season. He was that good. Aitcheson is another player. While I do think he should have been around the 15 range, having him as a 17th overall pick is another great pick for the Islanders. And this is just such a win for this team. I really want to start this by talking about these. And frankly, I just thought of this. I don't think if I knew that these two picks would be Aitcheson and Eklund, I don't think I would trade that for James Higgins. Honestly, I really think that Victor Eklund and James Higgins are pretty close when it comes to their offensive potential. Obviously, they're different types of player. The offense is going to come in different forms. Frankly, Eklund is more of a scorer, something the Islanders probably need more than a player like Higgins. I love the hometown story, but I love that Darsh did not overpay for this trade and instead got two of the best players available. Now, they're not both in positions of drastic need for the Islanders. Victor Eklund is a player I think the Islanders desperately need. Their wing depth in general is pretty abysmal and pretty old. You have players like Anders Lee and Palmieri playing in big roles for the Islanders. Victor Eklund is a big step in the right direction for the future. If you look at his season last year in the Swedish men's league, he had 31 points in 42 games. He played with Anton Frondell, and several scouts actually believe when it comes to Frondell that he kind of got a boost from playing with Eklund, and perhaps Eklund is the more skilled player out of the two. And considering that Frondell went third overall, this is so exciting for the New York Islanders. Absolutely nobody had this player coming out of the top 10, and the fact the Islanders got him at 16 is honestly ridiculous. And 2 years in a row, the Islanders have truly stolen the draft. I know every team always says their team stole the draft, but the Islanders getting the best player available in Matthew Schaefer and then adding Eklund, one of the better scorers in the draft. Again, in that Swedish league, he had 19 goals in 42 games. He was half a goal per game pace, also played well in the playoffs, although not as well still. That is a league that it's really hard for a young rookie to get time in the playoffs. So the fact that he had 7 points is also nothing to scoff at. And what I love about Victor Eklund is I don't understand the knock. There are some players where there's going to be a knock with them, and that's why they fall. Victor Eklund, I don't see it. Yes, you're looking at his size. He does not weigh a lot. He is only 161 pounds. He is going to have to beef up, and he has time to do that. He's going to be playing next season in Sweden after he goes to the Islanders rookie camp. But I will say this really quickly. Eklund is a player who plays incredibly physical. If you watch his game, he is not afraid to go into the corners. He does not play like he is 161 pounds at all, and he is going to be able to add muscle as time goes on. In addition, it's not like he's a especially short player. Playing at 5'11", he's not the tallest guy, but he has solid height to him. This is not a guy who's tiny, who's going to get beat around. In fact, if you look at him playing in the Swedish league, he's beating up bigger, stronger guys because he's just that physical. This is a perfect pick for the Islanders. I don't understand how division rivals such as the Flyers and the Penguins allowed the Islanders to draft this player. It is an absolute steal. I'm not even exaggerating here. I actually cannot believe the Islanders drafted this player, and it really does change my perspective. Even though I thought it was a smart move to move on from Noah Dobson, getting this player in return is huge for the Islanders' future, and especially considering how good Victor Eklund's brother is in the NHL, playing for the San Jose Sharks, already having a 60-point season. A lot of people are saying that Victor Eklund is the better of the two, and if that is true, the Islanders got an absolute steal with the 16th overall pick in this draft. And in addition, just looking at where he was ranked, because I think this is so important to think about, consolidated ranking had him 7, Elite Prospects 9, Bob McKenzie 10, Craig Button 10, Ferrari 4, Kennedy 8, McKean's 8, Flow Hockey 8. FC Hockey 6, Daily Faceoff 9, Central Scouting European, so he's 2, and that's where he went among European skaters. Malloy 7, Draft Prospects Hockey 7, 11 Sportsnet, that's the lowest so far, 8 by Sportsnet, Buka Recruit Scouting 6, Dober Prospects 8, and 5 by SMAT Scouting. Only one of these scouting departments had him outside the top 10, and they had him at 11. And the Islanders got this player at 16. That is so many people agreeing about this player. This is an absolute steal for the Islanders. Grade A plus on a draft that you already drafted Matthew Schaefer. What a win for the New York Islanders. And after they picked Eklund, I was thinking in my head, you know what? Just take a swing. Just take a player. Even if you want to reach on a player, do whatever you want because this is already such a good pick. And you know what Darsh did? He turned back in and he got the best player available. And that is what I love to see the Islanders do. So many of these teams are so focused on position and like, well, we really fall in love with this guy, even though it is kind of a reach. No, you draft the best player available. That is what the Islanders did with Kashawn Aitcheson. Is it a little odd that you could say that they drafted another left-handed defenseman after drafting Matthew Schaefer, considering they have Romanov in the system and players like Isaiah George? Sure, you can question that, but what you can't question is the value of this player. The Islanders picked the best player available, and I love what Kashawn Aitcheson brings to a hockey team. He is so physical. His hits, if you watch them on Twitter, are absolutely explosive. You like Romanov's hits? Check out some of Kashawn Aitcheson's. He is going to have to work out some kinks in his game, but I truly believe he is the 4th best defenseman in this draft, and he has a big scoring punch. If you look at his season for the Prairie Colts, he had 26 goals in 64 games, 59 points. That is really solid production for a defenseman, and the Islanders landed, in my opinion, 2 of the best 3 left-handed defensemen in this draft. Do they still have a hole in their prospect system in the right-handed side? Sure, especially after trading Noah Dobson. That is something they're going to have to address, but the wrong decision, in my opinion, I kind of advocated for it at the time. Honestly, I didn't think Kashawn Aitcheson would have been available. I advocated earlier that it would be the best move for the Islanders to bring in a player like Luke Hensler, who, while did not provide as much value, provided a need for the Islanders. That's not how you should draft. You should draft players like Kashawn Aitcheson, who should likely have gone a little sooner, if not right at this spot for the New York Islanders. I love this pick. And you know what? They can figure out what to do with the right-handed side of their defense later. It's not like they're so desperate at the NHL level. You have players such as Ryan Pulock, such as Adam Boqvist, who are currently playing in the NHL. I love this pick for the Islanders. And again, when you draft the best player available, even if you have too many left-handed defensemen in your system, you can always move some out. And I will say, when the Islanders do move some of these defensemen out, Aitcheson will not be one of them. This is a guy who I think both these players, which really excites me, have really high ceilings for the New York Islanders, which is something that is not said. With prospects, sometimes you have guys who you're taking a risk on a guy. I think both these prospects have really high ceilings, but I also think they have a pretty, what I was meant to say is they have a pretty high floor. And the fact, I can't really see an area where Kashawn Aitcheson does not become an NHL defenseman. Maybe he becomes a third pair defenseman that throws big hits and the offensive game never really develops, but he is going to be an NHL defenseman. And for Eklund, I can't see him being anything less than a 50-point winger. And I can honestly see him being a lot more than that. And with Aitcheson, I think the peak for him is definitely a top 4 defenseman. So 2 great picks for the Islanders. Quickly looking at where Aitcheson was supposed to go, it is more varied because there was so much variance in this draft, but you have a lot of 18s, some 13s, some 15s, 12s. You do have a 44 here from Ferrari, which that is a little questionable. 15 by McKean, though, which I think is one of the best rankings when it comes to these mock drafts. 11 by Flow Hockey, 11 by FC Hockey, 10 by Daily Faceoff, which I think is another pretty reputable one, 9 by NHL Central Scouting, North American Skaters, 16 by Draft Prospects. This is a player that the Islanders did really good with drafting where they did. I think the Islanders did not leave any value on the table. I believe Darce when he said he did not believe these prospects were going to be there. I was so sure the Penguins are going to, or the Flyers were going to pick this player at 12. I don't know what they were doing, trading back in the draft to get a guy they could have gotten at 20 in the first place. I'm not going to rant anymore about this draft. I'm just so excited about this draft haul for the New York Islanders. Let me know what you think about this draft in the comments. Is there anyone that you want to see them draft that it didn't quite happen? Or do you think they picked the best 2 players that were available? Because I truly think that's the case. I don't think the Islanders could have possibly done better in this draft if they tried. Honestly, A+ is not even a good enough grade to give Matthew Darsh. I am so excited about this, but I'd love to know your thoughts about it in the comments below. As always, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. My name is Patrick Nilan. This is Islanders Digest. Let's go, Islanders!